Alex Thompson sat in his corner office on the 32nd floor, staring out at the city lights below. At 34, he had everything most people dreamed of. His software company was worth millions. His penthouse apartment overlooked the best part of downtown. His bank account had more zeros than he could have imagined 10 years ago when he was coding in his garage. But none of that mattered right now. What mattered was the little girl waiting for him at home, and the fact that he felt like he was failing her every single day. 2 years ago, his world had turned upside down. His wife Rachel had been in a car accident on a rainy Tuesday morning. One moment she was texting him about picking up groceries, and the next moment she was gone. Just like that. No warning, no goodbye, no chance to say all the things they had planned to say someday. That left Alex alone with their 7-year-old daughter Lily, who had been born with cerebral palsy. Rachel had been the one who knew all the doctors' names, who understood the therapy schedules, who could make Lily laugh when she was frustrated with her leg braces. Rachel had been the heart of their little family, and now Alex was trying to be both the heart and the brain, and he was terrible at it. Lily was the sweetest kid you could ever meet. She had these big brown eyes that sparkled when she was happy, and she loved reading books about dragons and princesses. She was smart as a whip and could beat Alex at checkers 9 times out of 10, but she needed help with almost everything. Walking was hard for her. Using her hands took extra effort. Eating was a challenge that left both of them frustrated and covered in food. Alex had tried everything money could buy. He hired the best caregivers in the city. Physical therapists came to the house 3 times a week. He bought every special piece of equipment the doctors recommended. Their home looked like a medical supply store, with ramps and special chairs and grab bars everywhere. But here's the thing about having all the money in the world. It doesn't teach you how to connect with your child. Alex could hire people to take care of Lily's physical needs, but he couldn't hire someone to replace the bond she had lost when her mother died. And he was scared. Scared of doing the wrong thing. Scared of hurting her. Scared of not being enough. Every morning was a battle. Getting Lily dressed took 45 minutes. Breakfast was a disaster of spilled milk and dropped toast. The expensive caregivers he hired were professional, sure, but they treated Lily like a patient, not a little girl. They talked about her like she wasn't in the room. They used medical words that made her sound broken instead of just different. Alex watched his daughter become quieter and sadder with each passing month. She used to chatter constantly about her day, about the birds she saw outside her window, about the stories she made up in her head. Now she barely spoke unless someone asked her a direct question. She had stopped laughing at cartoons. She didn't even ask for bedtime stories anymore. The worst part was mealtimes. Lily's cerebral palsy made it hard for her to control her hand movements, so eating was slow and messy. Alex tried to help, but he was clumsy and impatient. He would get frustrated when food ended up on the floor instead of in her mouth. He would sigh when she couldn't hold her spoon steady. He never meant to make her feel bad, but he could see the disappointment in her eyes when he got that look on his face. The professional caregivers weren't much better. They would feed her efficiently, like they were checking items off a medical chart. No conversation, no fun. Just get the calories in and move on to the next task. Lily would sit there like a little robot, opening her mouth when told, not engaging with anyone. Alex's business was suffering too. He couldn't focus during meetings because he was worried about Lily. He had to bring her to the office sometimes when caregivers canceled last minute. His employees didn't know what to do with a disabled child in the boardroom. Everyone meant well, but they would stare or speak too loudly, or ask inappropriate questions about her condition. He remembered one particularly awful day when he had to bring Lily to an important client presentation. She had been excited to see Daddy's office, but within an hour she was tired and hungry. Alex tried to feed her a sandwich during a break, but she couldn't hold it properly and it fell apart all over his conference table. The clients tried to be polite, but he could see them watching. He could see the pity in their eyes. Not pity for Lily, but pity for him, the successful businessman who couldn't even feed his own child. That night, Alex had sat in Lily's room after she fell asleep and cried for the first time since the funeral. He felt like he was drowning. All his success meant nothing if he couldn't take care of the most important person in his world. He had built a company that employed hundreds of people, but he couldn't figure out how to make his daughter smile. Tonight was going to be another one of those challenging evenings. Alex had an important dinner meeting with potential investors. Normally, he would have scheduled it for lunch, but these particular investors were only available in the evening. The regular caregiver had called in sick, and the backup caregiver was already booked with another family. So once again, Alex was going to have to bring Lily to a business meeting. He had chosen Romano's restaurant specifically because it was small and quiet, not one of those fancy places where everyone would stare. The owner was an older Italian man who had always been kind when Alex brought Lily there before. But still, Alex was dreading it. He packed Lily's special spoon in her favorite cup, the one with the two handles that was easier for her to grip. He put an extra shirt in her bag because meals always ended with food on clothes. He practiced what he would say to the investors if Lily had a difficult moment. He was always prepared for the worst-case scenario these days. As Alex drove home to pick up Lily, he wondered for the 1,000th time if he was doing everything wrong. Other single parents seemed to manage better than he did, but then again, other single parents didn't have to figure out how to navigate the complex world of disability care while running a company and grieving the loss of their partner. All Alex wanted was to see his daughter happy again. He wanted to hear her laugh the way she used to laugh with her mother. He wanted her to feel loved and valued and normal, not like a problem to be managed or a burden to be carried. He had no idea that tonight, in a small family restaurant, everything was about to change. Romano's restaurant had that cozy feeling that reminded you of your grandmother's kitchen. The walls were covered with old family photos and the smell of garlic and fresh bread filled the air. Alex had picked this place because it was quiet, and the staff had always been patient with Lily during their previous visits. As they walked through the front door, Alex was already feeling the familiar knot in his stomach. Lily was walking slowly with her leg braces, concentrating hard on each step. A few people looked up from their meals, and Alex felt that uncomfortable awareness that always came when people noticed his daughter was different. The hostess, a young woman with kind eyes and dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, greeted them with a genuine smile. Her name tag read Sophia, and she knelt down to Lily's eye level right away. "Hey there, sweetie," Sophia said in a warm voice. "I love your purple backpack." "Purple is my favorite color, too." Lily looked up shyly and gave a small smile. It was the first time in weeks that a stranger had talked to her like a regular kid instead of speaking only to Alex or using that overly sweet voice that adults sometimes used with disabled children. Sophia led them to a corner table that was perfect, quiet, with enough space for Lily's wheelchair that she sometimes needed when she got tired. Alex helped Lily into her chair and got her settled with her special cup and utensils. "I'll give you a few minutes to look at the menu," Sophia said, placing the menus down gently. "And Lily, we have chocolate milk tonight if you're interested." Lily's eyes lit up. Chocolate milk was her favorite, but Alex rarely ordered it for her because it was harder to clean up when she spilled it. "Can I, Daddy?" Lily asked quietly. Alex hesitated for just a moment, then nodded. "Sure, sweetheart. Why not?" As Sophia walked away, Alex felt his phone buzzing. It was the investor he was supposed to meet. Then another buzz. Then another. Alex glanced at the messages and his heart sank. There was a problem with the contract they were supposed to discuss tonight. The investor needed to talk through some issues right now before their meeting, or the whole deal might fall through. Alex looked at Lily, who was studying the kids' menu with intense concentration, moving her finger slowly across the pictures of different meals. This deal was worth millions to his company. But he couldn't leave Lily alone, and he couldn't expect her to sit quietly while he handled business for who knows how long. His phone rang. It was the investor. "I'm so sorry," Alex whispered to Lily. "Daddy has to take this call. It's very important. Can you be a good girl and wait for me?" Lily nodded, though Alex could see the disappointment in her eyes. She was used to Daddy's important phone calls interrupting their time together. Alex stepped away from the table, far enough that his business conversation wouldn't disturb other diners, but close enough that he could keep an eye on Lily. The call was complicated, full of legal terms and financial details that required his complete attention. Meanwhile, Lily sat alone at the table trying to look at the menu, but the pictures were small and the words were hard for her to read. She wanted to ask Daddy for help, but she could see him pacing by the window, talking intensely into his phone with that worried expression he got during business calls. Sophia returned with the chocolate milk. Noticing immediately that Alex was occupied with his call, she set the drink down carefully in front of Lily, making sure it was close enough for her to reach, but not so close that she might knock it over. "Your daddy looks pretty busy," Sophia said gently, sitting down in the chair across from Lily. "Are you ready to order, or do you want to wait for him?" Lily looked toward her father, then back at Sophia. "I think I want the chicken nuggets," she said quietly. "But I can't really read the menu very well." "That's okay," Sophia said. "I can help you. The chicken nuggets come with French fries or apple slices. Which sounds better to you?" As they talked about the menu, Lily tried to reach for her chocolate milk. But her hands weren't cooperating today. Sometimes her cerebral palsy made her muscles tight and her movements unpredictable. The cup was just a little too far away, and when she stretched for it, her elbow knocked over the salt shaker. The salt scattered across the table, and Lily's face flushed red with embarrassment. She looked around nervously, expecting people to stare or her father to come rushing over with that stressed expression. But Sophia just smiled and quickly cleaned up the salt. "No worries at all," she said. "I knock stuff over all the time. Just yesterday I dropped a whole tray of glasses. Made the loudest crash you ever heard." Lily giggled softly. Sophia moved the chocolate milk closer and wrapped Lily's fingers around the special handles. "There you go," Sophia said. "Perfect." When their food arrived, Alex was still on his phone call, now sitting at the table but completely absorbed in his conversation. Lily stared at her plate of chicken nuggets. They looked delicious, but she was dreading the struggle of trying to eat them. Her special fork felt heavy in her hand today, and she could already imagine the frustration of dropping food and making a mess. Sophia was clearing the table next to them when she noticed Lily just sitting there, not eating. The little girl was holding her fork, but her hand was shaking slightly with the effort. Without making a big deal about it, Sophia finished her task and came back over. She had worked at Romano's for 3 years, and she had seen all kinds of families come through those doors. But something about this little girl reminded her of someone very special. "Mind if I sit with you while your daddy finishes his call?" Sophia asked. Lily nodded gratefully. Sophia pulled up a chair and casually picked up one of Lily's chicken nuggets. "You know what I discovered about eating chicken nuggets?" she said conversationally. "They taste way better when you dip them in the ketchup like this." She demonstrated, then held the nugget where Lily could easily reach it. Lily took a bite, and Sophia continued chatting. "My little brother used to say that chicken nuggets were actually baby dinosaurs, and that's why they were so delicious. He had the wildest imagination." "Where is your brother now?" Lily asked between bites. Sophia's expression grew soft. "He's not with us anymore, sweetie. But he taught me that the best way to eat is to have fun with it and not worry about making a mess." As if to prove her point, Sophia deliberately dipped her own French fry too deeply in ketchup and got it all over her fingers. "See? Messy can be fun." For the first time in months, Lily laughed. Not just a polite giggle, but a real, delighted laugh that made her whole face light up. The sound was so unexpected and joyful that Alex actually paused his phone conversation and looked over. His daughter was laughing with a restaurant waitress, eating her dinner without struggling, looking happier than he had seen her in 2 years. Sophia continued to chat with Lily, asking about school and books and what she liked to do for fun. She learned that Lily loved stories about dragons, that her favorite color was actually green, not purple, and that she was learning to play piano even though her fingers didn't always do what she wanted them to do. "Piano is tricky for everyone," Sophia said. "Even people with perfectly normal hands mess up all the time. The important thing is that you keep trying." By the time Alex finished his call, Lily had eaten almost her entire meal and was telling Sophia an elaborate story about a dragon who lived in her backyard and only came out at night to water the flowers. Alex sat down at the table, amazed. His daughter was animated, engaged, and happy, and this young waitress was listening to every word like it was the most interesting story she had ever heard. "I'm so sorry about that call," Alex said to Sophia. "Thank you for everything." Sophia stood up and started clearing Lily's plate. "No problem at all. Lily is wonderful company." As Sophia walked away, Lily tugged on Alex's sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered. "I like her. She makes me feel normal." Alex felt something shift in his chest. Normal? When was the last time anyone had made his daughter feel normal? The next Tuesday, Alex found himself driving toward Romano's again. He told himself it was because the food was good and the atmosphere was quiet, perfect for his weekly review meetings. But deep down, he knew the real reason. He wanted to see if that magical moment with Lily had been real, or if he had just imagined his daughter being truly happy for the first time in 2 years. Lily had been asking about the nice lady every day since their last visit. "When can we see Sophia again?" she would ask at breakfast. "Do you think she remembers me?" She wondered while Alex helped her with her homework. It was the most Lily had talked about anything in months. When they walked into Romano's, Lily's eyes immediately started searching the dining room. Alex felt a flutter of worry. What if Sophia wasn't working tonight? What if she had just been being polite last time? But then Sophia appeared from behind the counter, carrying a tray of drinks to another table. When she spotted them, her face broke into a genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Well, look who's back," Sophia called out. "Hey, Lily. I was hoping I'd see you again soon." Lily practically glowed with excitement. She walked a little faster than usual, eager to get to their table. Alex noticed that Sophia had automatically led them to the same corner spot, and she had already set out Lily's special cup before they even sat down. "I remembered you liked chocolate milk," Sophia said with a wink. As the weeks went by, their Tuesday dinners at Romano's became the highlight of Lily's week. Sophia always seemed to have time to sit and chat, even when the restaurant was busy. She remembered every detail Lily shared with her. When Lily mentioned she was reading a book about dragons, Sophia brought her a small dragon sticker the next week. When Lily talked about struggling with math homework, Sophia shared stories about how math used to make her cry when she was in school too. Alex began to notice changes in his daughter that went beyond their restaurant visits. Lily was more talkative at home. She started asking for help with things instead of just sitting quietly when she struggled. She even began trying to feed herself more at home, mimicking the techniques Sophia used to make eating easier and more fun. One evening, while Sophia was helping Lily with a particularly messy plate of spaghetti, Alex found himself really watching how she did it. Sophia never made Lily feel rushed or clumsy. She turned spilled sauce into a game, pretending it was paint for an invisible masterpiece. She showed Lily how to twirl the pasta around her fork by using the spoon as a helper, making it seem like a fun trick rather than a necessity. "How do you know so much about this?" Alex asked Sophia during a quiet moment. Sophia's expression grew thoughtful. "I took care of my little brother for a long time," she said softly. "He had some challenges too, different from Lily's, but still. I learned that the biggest thing is just treating kids like kids, not like they're broken or need to be fixed." Alex felt something twist in his chest. How many times had he made Lily feel like she needed to be fixed? As their conversations continued over the following weeks, Alex learned more about Sophia's life. She worked the dinner shift at Romano's 5 nights a week and picked up lunch shifts on weekends when she could. During the day, she was taking nursing classes at the community college, with a dream of specializing in pediatric care. "I want to work with kids like Lily," Sophia explained one evening while wiping down their table. "Kids who need someone to see past their disabilities and just see them." Alex also learned that Sophia was supporting her mother, who had diabetes and needed expensive medication. Sophia never complained about it, but Alex could see the tiredness in her eyes sometimes, the weight of working so many hours while trying to keep up with her studies. He tried to tip Sophia generously, wanting to help somehow, but she always refused anything beyond the standard amount. "That's very kind of you, Mr. Thompson," she would say firmly but politely. "But I earn my money fair and square." "I don't need charity." Alex admired her pride even as it frustrated him. Here was someone who was clearly struggling financially, working herself to exhaustion, but she wouldn't accept help from someone who could easily afford to give it. Meanwhile, Lily was transforming before Alex's eyes. She began talking about Sophia constantly at home. "Sophia says I'm brave," she would tell Alex while he helped her get ready for bed. "Sophia says my braces are like superhero gear that makes me special." Alex started paying closer attention to how Sophia interacted with Lily, trying to learn from her natural approach. He noticed that Sophia never did things for Lily that Lily could do herself, even if it took longer. She offered help without taking over. She celebrated small victories without making them feel like big deals. One Tuesday, Lily was having a particularly difficult day. Her physical therapy session that afternoon had been frustrating, and she was feeling discouraged about her progress. When they arrived at Romano's, Lily was quieter than usual, picking at her food without much interest. Sophia sat down beside her and didn't try to force conversation. Instead, she simply started telling a story about a little dragon who was learning to fly but kept tumbling out of the sky. The other dragons told him he wasn't trying hard enough, Sophia said, her voice gentle and captivating. But the little dragon knew something they didn't know. He wasn't trying to fly like them. He was learning to fly like himself. Lily looked up, intrigued despite her mood. "What happened to the dragon?" she asked. "Well," Sophia continued, "one day he discovered that when he tumbled, he could do these amazing loop-de-loops that no other dragon could do. His tumbling wasn't failing at flying. It was his own special way of dancing in the sky." By the end of the story, Lily was smiling again. More importantly, Alex could see that she understood what Sophia was really telling her. It wasn't about trying to be like everyone else. It was about being the best version of herself. That night, as Alex tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him with those big brown eyes and said something that took his breath away. "Daddy, I think Sophia loves me." Alex felt tears prick his eyes. "What makes you think that, sweetheart?" "Because she looks at me the way Mommy used to look at me," Lily said simply. "Like I'm perfect just the way I am." Alex sat on the edge of her bed for a long time after she fell asleep, thinking about those words. When was the last time he had looked at his daughter that way? When had he stopped seeing her as perfect and started seeing her as a problem to be solved? Sophia was teaching him something profound about parenting, about love, about seeing people for who they really are instead of focusing on what they can't do. She was showing him that his daughter didn't need to be fixed or managed. She needed to be loved, encouraged, and treated like the remarkable little girl she was. But Sophia was doing more than just caring for Lily during their weekly dinners. She was filling a void that Alex hadn't even realized existed. Lily needed a maternal figure in her life, someone who could see her through a mother's eyes. And somehow this young waitress who barely knew them was providing exactly that. Alex began to worry about what would happen if Sophia left Romano's, or if something changed in their routine. Lily had become so attached to these visits, so dependent on Sophia's encouragement and love. What if it all disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared? The thought scared him more than any business deal or financial crisis ever had. Because for the first time since Rachel died, his daughter was truly happy. And that happiness was entirely in the hands of someone who was essentially a stranger. Yet Alex couldn't help but feel that Sophia wasn't really a stranger anymore. She had become something much more important. She had become exactly what their family needed, even though Alex was only beginning to understand what that might mean. It was a cold Thursday evening in late November, when Alex's carefully ordered world shifted completely. He had arrived at Romano's a little earlier than usual, because his meeting had been canceled, and Lily was excited about the extra time they'd have with Sophia. But when they walked through the familiar doors, something was different. Sophia was there, but her usual bright smile seemed forced. Her eyes looked tired, and Alex noticed she kept checking her phone with a worried expression. As they settled into their regular corner table, Sophia brought Lily's chocolate milk and tried to chat normally about Lily's week at school. But Alex could see the distraction in her movements, the way she kept glancing toward the kitchen like she needed to hurry back to work. "Sophia, is everything okay?" Alex asked gently when she came back to check on their food. Sophia hesitated, then shook her head quickly. "Oh, everything's fine. Just a busy day, you know." But Lily, with the intuition that children often have, reached out and touched Sophia's hand. "You look sad," she said simply. "Are you sad?" Sophia's composure cracked just a little. She sat down heavily in the chair beside Lily, and Alex could see her fighting back tears. "I'm not sad," Sophia said softly. "I'm just worried about some things." Alex wanted to ask more, but he could see other customers needed attention. Sophia excused herself to take care of her other tables, leaving Alex wondering what could have put that look of defeat in her eyes. After they finished eating, Alex helped Lily to the bathroom while Sophia was busy with the dinner rush. On their way back, he overheard Sophia talking quietly on her phone near the back hallway, clearly thinking she was out of earshot. "Mama, I know," Sophia was saying in Spanish, but Alex understood enough to catch the worry in her voice. "The doctor said we can't wait any longer. I don't know where we're going to get the money. Maybe I can pick up some extra shifts. Alex felt like he was intruding on a private moment, but something in Sophia's voice made him pause. She sounded desperate, scared in a way he had never heard before. When Sophia returned to their table a few minutes later, Alex made a decision. Lily, sweetheart, can you color in your book for a few minutes? I need to talk to Sophia about something. Lily nodded happily, pulling out her dragon coloring book that Sophia had given her 2 weeks ago. Sophia, Alex said quietly, I couldn't help but notice you seem upset tonight. And I heard part of your phone call. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to listen, but... Sophia's face flushed red. Mr. Thompson, I'm so sorry. My personal problems shouldn't affect my work. I'll be more professional, I promise. No, Alex said quickly. That's not what I meant at all. You're always professional. You're wonderful with Lily. Is there anything I can help with? For a moment, Sophia looked like she might cry. Then she glanced around the restaurant, making sure no one else was listening. My mother needs surgery, she said quietly. Her diabetes has gotten worse, and the doctors say she needs this operation soon, or she could lose her foot. Maybe worse. Alex felt his chest tighten. What about insurance? Sophia gave a bitter laugh. We have insurance, but it only covers part of it. We need $15,000 that we don't have. I've been trying to save up, but between my school payments and her medications... She shrugged helplessly. I'm thinking about dropping out of nursing school and picking up a second job. Dropping out? Alex repeated, shocked. But you're so close to finishing. I have 6 months left, Sophia said, her voice barely above a whisper. But what good is becoming a nurse if I lose my mother while I'm in school? Alex watched Sophia return to work, serving other customers with the same grace and kindness she always showed, even though her world was falling apart. He watched her kneel down to help an elderly man who had dropped his napkin, saw her patiently explain the menu to a confused tourist, witnessed her genuine laugh when a baby at another table smiled at her. This woman, who had brought such joy back into his daughter's life, was facing an impossible choice. She could save her mother or pursue her dreams, but not both. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He stood in his home office looking out at the city lights, thinking about fairness and privilege and the randomness of life. He had more money than he could spend in 3 lifetimes, sitting in investment accounts he barely thought about. Sophia worked twice as hard as anyone he knew, and couldn't afford to save her mother's life and her own future at the same time. But more than that, Alex thought about what Sophia meant to Lily, and what she was starting to mean to him. Sophia had taught him how to see his daughter differently. She had shown him that love wasn't about providing expensive treatments and specialized equipment. Love was about seeing someone completely, accepting them fully, and helping them see their own worth. Alex spent the weekend doing research. He learned about Sophia's nursing program, found out exactly how much the remaining tuition would cost. He researched the type of surgery her mother needed, contacted specialists, and found out about payment plans and medical financing options. By Monday morning, Alex had a plan. On Tuesday, their regular night at Romano's, Alex arrived with an envelope in his jacket pocket and his heart beating faster than it had during any business deal he'd ever made. Sophia seemed a little better than she had the week before, though Alex could still see the worry lines around her eyes. She chatted with Lily about a new book she was reading, helped her with her dinner, and told her a funny story about a clumsy dragon who kept tripping over his own tail. When Lily was busy with her coloring and the restaurant had gotten quieter, Alex pulled out the envelope. Sophia, he said, his voice more nervous than he expected, I have something for you. Sophia looked at the envelope suspiciously. Mr. Thompson, if this is money, I told you I can't accept tips like that. It's not a tip, Alex said quickly. It's a business proposition. Sophia raised an eyebrow but took the envelope. Inside were several documents, information about her mother's surgery, details about her nursing program, and a formal letter written on Alex's company letterhead. Sophia read silently, her eyes growing wider with each page. Finally, she looked up at Alex with an expression he couldn't quite read. I don't understand, she said slowly. Alex took a deep breath. The first document is a payment authorization for your mother's surgery. It's already been processed. The surgery is scheduled for next Friday at St. Mary's Hospital with Dr. Martinez, who's supposed to be the best in the city for this type of procedure. Sophia stared at him, speechless. The second document is a scholarship for the rest of your nursing program, plus money for books and expenses until you graduate. Sophia's hands were shaking now. And the third document is a job offer. I'd like to hire you as Lily's full-time companion and care specialist. The salary is what a professional private nurse makes, plus health insurance for you and your mother, plus flexible scheduling so you can finish school. Sophia set the papers down and buried her face in her hands. For a terrifying moment, Alex thought she was going to tell him no. Why? She whispered finally. Why would you do this? Alex looked over at Lily, who was happily coloring her dragon bright purple and humming softly to herself. 3 months ago, his daughter barely spoke. Now she was confident, joyful, and believed in herself. Because you gave me my daughter back, Alex said simply. Because you showed me what it means to really love someone. And because... He paused, surprised by the emotion in his own voice. Because you've become family to us. And family helps family. Sophia was crying now, but trying to hide it from Lily. This is too much, she said. I can't accept charity. It's not charity, Alex said firmly. You would be working for every penny. Taking care of Lily, helping her with her therapy, being the amazing person you already are. I'm not giving you money, Sophia. I'm offering you a job that happens to come with the security to save your mother and finish school. Sophia looked at the papers again, then at Lily, then back at Alex. You barely know me, she said. I know everything I need to know, Alex replied. I know you're kind, patient, hardworking, and that you love my daughter. I know you make her feel valuable and normal and happy. What else is there? For a long moment, the only sound was Lily's quiet humming as she colored. Finally, Sophia wiped her eyes and looked directly at Alex. If I say yes, this changes everything. Alex nodded. I'm counting on it. 18 months later, Alex stood in the kitchen of his penthouse apartment, watching something that still amazed him every single day. Lily was sitting at the breakfast table, carefully spreading peanut butter on her toast while telling Sophia about a dream she'd had about flying dragons. Her movements were still careful and deliberate because of her cerebral palsy, but there was confidence in every gesture. And then the purple dragon said I could ride on his back, Lily was saying, her eyes bright with excitement, but I told him I wanted to learn to fly by myself first. Sophia laughed, that warm, genuine laugh that had become the soundtrack of their mornings. Of course you did. You're the bravest girl I know. Sophia, Lily said seriously, when you become a real nurse, will you still have time to make me breakfast? Lily Thompson, Sophia said with mock sternness, I'm already a real nurse. I graduated last month, remember? And nothing in this world could stop me from making breakfast with you. Alex smiled as he poured coffee for himself and Sophia. The transformation in their lives had been nothing short of miraculous. But it hadn't happened overnight. Those first few weeks after Sophia accepted his offer had been an adjustment for everyone. Sophia's mother, Mrs. Santos, had her surgery just 5 days after Alex made his offer. Alex would never forget sitting in that hospital waiting room with Sophia, watching her pace nervously while they waited for news. When the doctor came out with a smile to say the surgery had been a complete success, Sophia had cried tears of relief that seemed to come from her very soul. The recovery period had been challenging. Sophia had wanted to work full-time with Lily immediately, but Alex insisted she take time to care for her mother first. During those weeks, Alex got a crash course in really taking care of Lily himself. Without professional caregivers to rely on, he had to learn Sophia's techniques for making meals fun, for encouraging Lily's independence, for seeing past the disability to the remarkable child underneath. It was harder than any business challenge he'd ever faced, but also more rewarding than closing any deal. The first time he successfully helped Lily eat an entire meal without her getting frustrated or him getting impatient, he felt prouder than the day his company went public. When Sophia officially started working for them, the changes in Lily were immediate and profound. With Sophia's full attention and expertise, Lily's confidence soared. Her physical therapy sessions became more productive because Sophia knew how to motivate her. Her academic work improved because Sophia made learning feel like play. Most importantly, Lily began to see herself the way Sophia saw her, as a capable, intelligent, valuable person who happened to have some physical challenges. But Sophia's impact went far beyond just caring for Lily. She taught Alex things about parenting that no expensive consultant ever could have. She showed him how to celebrate small victories without making them feel like big deals. She demonstrated the difference between helping and taking over. She proved that love wasn't about removing all obstacles from your child's path, but about giving them the tools and confidence to overcome those obstacles themselves. Alex remembered one particular afternoon when Lily was struggling with her piano practice. Her fingers weren't cooperating and she was getting frustrated, ready to give up. The old Alex would have either rushed in to help or hired a specialized instructor, but Sophia just sat beside Lily and started playing a simple melody with one finger. "You know what?" Sophia had said. "I think this piano is being stubborn today. Let's show it who's boss." Within 10 minutes, Lily was laughing and trying new finger positions, turning her struggle into a game. That's when Alex realized that Sophia wasn't just caring for Lily. She was teaching him how to be the father his daughter needed. Sophia had finished her nursing program 6 months ahead of schedule, earning top grades while working full-time with Lily. Alex had never seen anyone work as hard as Sophia did during those months. She would study after Lily went to bed, wake up early to review her notes before Lily got up, and somehow still manage to give Lily her complete attention during the day. The day Sophia graduated, Alex and Lily surprised her by showing up at the ceremony with flowers and a banner they had made together. Lily had insisted on drawing dragons all around the edges because dragons are brave like Sophia. When Sophia walked across that stage to receive her diploma, Alex felt as proud as if it had been his own daughter graduating. Now Sophia worked part-time at the Children's Hospital, specializing in pediatric patients with disabilities, while still caring for Lily after school and during breaks. She had found her calling working with kids who needed someone to see past their limitations, just like she had done with Lily. Mrs. Santos had recovered completely from her surgery and now visited them every Sunday for dinner. She and Lily had formed their own special bond, with Mrs. Santos teaching Lily simple Spanish words and Lily teaching her new facts about dragons. Alex loved watching his penthouse apartment, which had once felt cold and empty, fill up with the warmth of an extended family. But perhaps the biggest change had been in Alex himself. He had learned to slow down, to be present, to see his daughter not as a problem to be managed but as a person to be loved. He still ran his company successfully, but he no longer brought work home. Evenings were for family time. Weekends were for adventures and lazy mornings and playing board games that Lily usually won. The three of them had developed their own traditions. Every Tuesday they still went to Romano's, where the staff treated them like family. Every Friday was movie night, with Sophia making popcorn and Lily choosing increasingly elaborate dragon movies. Every Sunday, Sophia's mother came for dinner, bringing stories and laughter and the kind of multi-generational love that Alex had never experienced in his own childhood. But it was the quiet moments that meant the most to Alex. Like now, watching Sophia patiently help Lily practice cutting her pancakes into perfect squares. Or last week when he found Sophia and Lily reading together on the couch, both of them fast asleep with a book about brave princesses open between them. Or the evening when Lily had asked Sophia to braid her hair like a real mom would do, and Sophia had done it with tears in her eyes and infinite gentleness. Alex had been thinking a lot lately about family, about love, about the difference between what you can buy and what you can only receive as a gift. Sophia had come into their lives as a waitress who was kind to his daughter. She had become so much more than that. Last month, Alex had made another life-changing decision. But this time it wasn't about money or business propositions. This time it was about love and about recognizing that the woman who had saved his daughter had also saved him. "Sophia," Alex said now, setting down his coffee cup with hands that were only slightly nervous. "Can I talk to you about something after Lily leaves for school?" Sophia looked up from helping Lily with her backpack, catching something in his tone. "Of course. Is everything okay?" "Everything's perfect," Alex said, thinking about the small velvet box hidden in his desk drawer upstairs. "I just have something important to ask you." Lily, oblivious to the undercurrents of adult conversation, gave Sophia a huge hug goodbye. "I love you, Sophia," she said matter-of-factly, the way she said it every morning. "I love you too, Dragon Princess," Sophia replied, smoothing Lily's hair. As Alex walked Lily to the elevator that would take her down to the car that drove her to school, She looked up at him with those wise brown eyes. "Daddy," she said seriously, "are you going to ask Sophia to marry us?" Alex nearly choked on his surprise. "What makes you think that?" "Because she already feels like my mom," Lily said simply. "And you look at her the same way you used to look at Mommy in the pictures. Like she makes you happy inside." Out of the mouths of babes, Alex thought. His 8-year-old daughter had figured out what it had taken him months to understand. Sophia hadn't just become Lily's caregiver. She had become the heart of their family. As the elevator doors closed and Alex walked back toward the kitchen where Sophia was waiting, he thought about how dramatically their lives had changed. A simple dinner at a small restaurant had led to this moment. One act of kindness from a struggling waitress had transformed everything. Sophia wasn't just the woman who had fed his daughter when he couldn't. She was the woman who had taught him what it really meant to love someone completely, challenges and all. She was the woman who had shown his daughter that being different was just another way of being special. And now, if she would have him, she was going to be the woman who made their little family complete in ways Alex had never imagined possible. Some gifts, Alex had learned, are worth more than all the money in the world. And the gift Sophia had given them, the gift of seeing each other clearly, of loving without conditions, of believing in possibilities instead of focusing on limitations, was priceless. It was time to ask her to make it official.